Hello, everyone. My name is Jack. I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, and I'm also a guide towards your creative self empowerment. Now, what does that mean? Well, I believe that creativity is a form of self empowerment. I'm a really strong believer that we are all creative. I don't care what it is you do. You could be a singer, a songwriter, a musician, photographer, dancer, visual artist, filmmaker, truck driver, landscaper, teacher. It doesn't matter what you are. I know that deep down you are a creative person. And I also believe that creativity is it's simply our true nature. Whether we consider ourselves artists with a capital A or just someone who likes to create because it's fun. If you've ever, met, like, let's say you've ever met one of your favorite artists, like your favorite singer or your favorite actor, and you thank them, you say, "Oh, thank you so much for what you do." They always respond with, "It's my pleasure to do it. Like, I'm glad it helped you. I hope it inspired you, but like, it helps me. It enriches my life." You'll hear that a lot when you hear musicians talk. Like, anyone who's really good at what they do, they started doing it because it was what they loved, and that's because they were born with it. I also am a firm believer that creativity and spirituality are one thing. I'm a musician, I'm a singer, I write songs, I'm in a band. My band is called Mera. A lot of my stuff is right here on this channel, but I also want to use this channel as a channel for you to find your own creative spirituality. And what do I mean by that? I don't mean your religion. That's not what I mean. You can be any religion you want. The religion you are, or whatever your faith is, whether you're atheist or agnostic, or you're Catholic or Protestant or Islamic or Buddhist, or you believe, that aliens run the universe, you believe in Sasquatch, Bigfoot, ghosts, it doesn't matter. That's not what's important here. That's your belief system. And that is where you lie. That is your truth. That has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about here, which is creativity and the spirituality that goes into that. Now, what I mean by spirituality is whenever you create something, you draw a picture, you start writing, you play the guitar, whenever you start to make something, that is an act of faith. You are putting your faith into what you do, whether you know it or not. You're like, you have faith that what you're going to do is going to at least make you happy. I think when we're children and we draw or we doodle or we dance around, we're doing that because it's just inside of us. It enriches our lives. And anything that enriches your life is spiritual, whether you like to, the martial arts, karate or yoga, or, I like to run. All of that is definitely spiritual because it enriches your life. That is what spirituality is. It's your connection to faith. And we can get into what I believe, but that's another story, maybe for another time. Because what I want to talk about right now is empowering yourself. We're living in a world right now. I think we're living in the age of empowerment, and people are coming into their own power. They're starting to realize that there's more to this world than maybe we were led to believe. I mean, money is great, money is fine, and making money definitely is your birthright. We all deserve to be rich. And we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about blocks. We're going to talk about the things that block you from being creative. We're going to talk about why it took me so long to make this video, on this channel. What took me so long to say what I want to say. There are blocks in our minds that keep us from doing this. And we got to bust through those blocks, and we're going to talk about that too. But first and foremost, who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, good question. By all means, you don't have to. But I hope you do, because I've actually been studying this for a long time. This is something that I believe I'm an expert in. And even though I'm not rich or famous or any of those measurements of success, I have been doing this for a long time, and I create a lot. I do it quite often, and I've also done it in many different forms. The singing and songwriting is my main medium, but I love to draw cartoons. I was an actor. I've always been an actor my whole life, and I was a stand-up comedian and make videos, and I was a ring announcer for professional wrestling. I've actually done quite a few things. So I do know quite a bit about creativity and the act of making things, and I can help you if you are finding yourself blocked, because there are specific tools that you can learn and use that are going to help you. They're going to help you grow as an artist. They're going to help you as a performer. They're going to help you, honestly, as a person. They're going to help you in your life to grow. And what I have based all of this on is what I have learned from an author and a creative genius. Her name is Julia Cameron, and she wrote a book called The Artist's Way. And I began reading this book about 25 years ago, and I still read it to this day. She's made many different versions of those books. I have many, many of them. I have all of them. I put stickers on them because I've had them for so long. And I've given them to friends. I've tried to share it with my friends. I've tried to get them to do it too. I've given away so many copies of this book. I can't even tell you how many people I've given it to. And sometimes they'll take a look at it and they'll read it and maybe they'll do a couple of the exercises, but very rarely do they get into it as I want them to, because I'm such a believer in this, the artist's way of creating. But because they always end up kind of not really losing interest or moving on, and I'm not here to force anybody to do anything, but I figure I'll put this on YouTube and I'll reach out to all of you guys, everyone out here in the World Wide Web, the internet, whatever we're calling it these days. As you can tell, I'm pretty old, but that's a good thing. I've had experience, and I've learned how to use this equipment here a little bit better. So hopefully, all of this has led up to this right here, which is creative empowerment through spirituality, through creativity. There are many tools that she uses. We're going to talk about a lot of them. And what you're going to maybe need is a notebook. And if you want to purchase a copy of The Artist's Way, I highly encourage you to do that, because I want to talk about it a lot. But it's not necessary. It's kind of the way she goes through the book. It's sort of like a 12-step kind of process. And she goes week by week, and it's really awesome the way she does that. I'm not going to do that yet. We are going to talk about it, but we're not going to do that yet. First, I want to talk about the tools. I want to talk about creativity and my personal journey. When I started I moved to Seattle about 25 years ago to be in a band, to start my band. That was my dream. And I got really discouraged. Things did not take off immediately. It was really hard. And a friend of mine gave me this book, The Artist's Way, and it just sat there for a long time, and then I picked it up one day. I looked at it, spirituality, creativity. It was a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me. I never really believed in any of that. But one day, for some reason, I decided to read it, and I was like, oh, well, she's telling me this is going to help me. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this because I want to prove to her that this is wrong, that this is bullshit. I wanted to prove that it's not spiritual. It's all about money and it's all about fame. And if you don't have that, you got nothing. I wanted to prove that. I wanted to prove that none of this was going to work. So I did it. And what I ended up doing was proving myself wrong. It ended up helping me immensely. Things started blossoming for me, almost like when I was getting towards the end of the program, like week 10, 11, 12, I was like, well, how has this helped? And I realized I was writing in my journal inside a recording studio. My band was actually in a recording studio recording. I didn't even realize how much progress I had made. It was amazing. And I immediately realized that, yeah, something was happening. So I continued the work, and it just continued to grow from there. So I have now been using these tools for, like I said, about 2.5 decades. And it's going to help a lot whether you want to be an artist or not, whether you think you're creative or not, or whether this is your passion. This is going to help you. I guarantee it. And it's going to take trust. When another word for trust is faith. It's going to take faith. And faith involves, you guessed it, spirituality. And it's going to challenge your concepts of what the world is and what it means to be spiritual. Maybe we might even talk about God. So I hope you're okay with that. But keep an open mind. That's all I ask, is keep an open mind. I can't wait to get into this. But what you're going to want to know is that it is going to involve some writing. So you are going to have to get a notebook and a pen, and you're going to have to write. Writing is, a lot of times, that's a block. So watch it. It's a block. I have a lot of friends who say they don't want to write. Can I just, voice record? Can I videotape myself? And the answer is yes, you can. But I want you to write also. It's just, there's a difference between saying something and writing it down on a piece of paper. If you've ever heard this phrase, don't think it, ink it, right? Don't just think it, write it down. There's a reason for that. Once you put it on a page, something about writing it down, the act of doing that immediately brings it to life. It's like you're giving birth to it. And when you go with your own hand and a pen and a piece of paper, rather than say typing it or using your thumbs on your phone, when you write, it's sort of like the difference between driving, past scenery and watching trees fly by you, and walking, like taking a walk through the woods and actually walking and noticing everything, noticing the trees, noticing the animals. But the point is when you're doing things by hand, when you're doing things a little more slowly, you pay attention and you notice things, you get ideas. And that's the atomic crux to what we want here when we want to indulge in what we're going to do creatively, whether you want to draw, whether you want to make music, whether you want to make films, whether you want to whatever. I just started taking drum lessons in my late 40s. I just started taking drum lessons because I just want to do it. It's something I've always wanted to do, and it's, why not right now? One of the great quotes that Julia Cameron gives us, and we're going to be quoting her a lot because she's a genius. One of the things Julia Cameron says is people often say, well, I'm old, do you know how old I'll be by the time I get good at playing the piano, or by the time I get good at playing the drums, or by the time I get good at this or that? Do you know how old I'll be? And the answer is yes, you're going to be the same age that you would be if you had never done it. You're going to be the same age. So you might as well do it, right? So we're going to talk about the tools. Moving forward, we're going to be talking about something called morning pages. We're going to be talking about something called artist dates. We're going to be talking about going for walks and much, much, much more. If you are interested in this, leave a comment down below if you have any questions at all about creativity, about the artist's way, Julia Cameron. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe. You can join my Patreon. Just kidding. I don't have a Patreon. We don't have to monetize this relationship yet, okay? But I would appreciate a like or a sub if you are interested in this, because I want to grow a community. That's what I really want to do. Make this a community of people discussing art and creativity. And we're gonna move forward from there. But for now, let's leave it at that. And when we come back next time, we are going to talk about the tools of the artist's way. But until then, my name is Jack. My band is called Mera. You can check it out on Spotify or right here on this YouTube channel. And I will talk to you again very, very soon. Thanks.